I am too tired to stay awake to tackle the project I wanted to tackle, but I'm also not tired enough to go to sleep right at this moment. It is almost 6:30 on a Monday morning. You might be wondering, don't you have work in like an hour? And the answer is no. A lot of people ask me what I do for work, how much money I make off of work, not YouTube, because YouTube obviously doesn't make me that much. And a lot of people ask me, what the hell do I need 4 monitors for? YouTube makes me a couple hundred a month, maybe, roughly. That's YouTube and Amazon combined. Not including Patreon, because Patreon doesn't make me that much, but that's okay, because I don't really give a lot on Patreon to begin with. But anyway, my job makes me a modest salary, but I'm very good at budgeting. And by that I mean I'm kind of a loser and I almost never go out to do anything else. So all the money that a lot of people will use on like going shopping for clothes or, I don't know, going to amusement parks or general area attractions or whatever, I don't use money on stuff like that. I don't go out to eat often. I don't go see people. All that money I save towards buying stuff either for review or for preserving or upgrading my equipment. A lot of the review stuff I don't really buy for the sake of review. I buy it because I need it and then I review it, and that's kind of how I've always been doing it. But anyway, I don't make a lot, I make enough, and I'm just careful with it. That's how I was able to finance that machine back there. I haven't figured out how much it cost. I didn't want to do the math in my head. I didn't want to do the math on paper. I don't want to do the math in general because I'm afraid of the number. But I did budget for it. And I know that sounds conflicting, but that's what I did. Anyway, that was supposed to be a high-end desktop Intel platform. But that was also because I planned it before Intel announced their X299 stuff. But I was thinking, the next big thing that's not a Xeon processor but will be for heavy multitasking stuff is going to be an Intel processor, and I was almost dead set on that. And then AMD was like, but here's Threadripper, and I saw that and I was like, it rips threads, how can I not? So that's what I ended up doing. That was that investment. It's a lot of things that I plan way ahead of time that I'll just save for, and then once it drops I'm ready for it. That's it. And that being said, I quit my job. So I have no more cash income that's not YouTube. YouTube's already kind of not a lot, so I'm not really sure if I can count that. But I budgeted out for 2 years of not having good income. The plan is do this for a year, see where it goes, and if in that 1 year I get to somewhere where it looks like it'll be substantial enough to last me for a longer time, I'll keep doing it for the next year and then see where that goes. If in that 1 year I don't get very far, I don't have exact numbers yet, but I have like monetary figures in my head where if it brings me in enough money, then I can keep doing it. If it doesn't, then I have to go beg my boss for my old job back. Now I didn't quit because I didn't like my job. It was a fun job. I enjoyed it. It was interesting, and it was a good job. But I didn't quit because I didn't like it. I quit because 1, I like this better. 2, I'm starting to fall behind in this a lot. So when I throw out videos, this is also explaining a lot of set me up stuff, by the way, that people keep asking for. When I do videos, I prioritize them in, first is whatever people ask for, I give them a lead time as to when they can expect the video. So if somebody sends me a product, I'll say, I can get you this video done in 2 to 3 weeks. And 2 to 3 weeks is kind of a long time because the actual review process only takes a couple of days maybe. But I still need to use it for a couple of weeks before I know I can recommend it or not. So I'll use the product for a couple weeks and then I'll do the review. I'm starting to get more, I have a problem with saying no. I'm not very good at it, but when I start to get a lot of stuff in, I've been starting to reject things more and more, and my lead times that I'm estimating for people are getting longer and longer. So I started with like 2 to 3 weeks, and now I'm at like 6 to 7. And a lot of people, I'm getting really close to the deadline I set for myself. Like, it's not necessarily a bad thing to miss the deadline, because a lot of them are very chill. They're just like, yeah, whatever, get it out when you get it out. And then a lot of people will, I'll tell them like, I'll say 4 weeks, and then next week they'll be like, is it done yet? And I'll say, no, I said 4 weeks. Come on. I haven't even looked at it yet. It's still in a box. That's how that goes. So whoever sends me stuff, I prioritize those first. The only company I've had to work with so far that does embargoes is Corsair. So I try to do the embargo stuff before everything else because that's kind of like it's kind of a fast pass sort of cheating thing. And I don't really like that I'm doing it, but I'm doing it because it's better for the channel in general. Like when you have an embargo lift, everybody uploads at the same time. So if I get it out soon, it becomes a relevant search topic. So it helps get that channel exposure. It's like, I don't feel good about it, but I do it. It's kind of hypocritical. I don't know. But anyway, speaking of which, I have a fun Corsair project coming up. And as a general hint, it's a lot of stuff on, like, none of that is the embargo stuff. It's actually down there. You can't see it. But there's a lot of stuff to go with it, so it's really cool. Also, my workspace is kind of a mess right now. I was just filming a thing on a headset, and then I had to move all the stuff out of the middle of my room, and it all ended up on the table. I need to work on that. I have 2 cases from, I think it's pronounced Azza, A-Z-Z-A, Azza. I don't know how else you would pronounce it, but I'm pretty sure it's Azza. And they look really edgy in a kind of cool way. I don't know if everyone's going to like it, but I think it's kind of exciting. So I'm going to do those soon. I also have more RGB things, but this is an RGB mousepad from First Player. It's not on the box anywhere. I'm pretty sure it's from First Player. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so if you wanted an RGB mousepad and you don't want to pay, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 bucks for Corsairs or Razors, that's a more budget option that I'll be looking at soonish. And they also sent me another RGB keyboard, so that's cool. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff to do. That's why things like Set Me Up and the Q&A series and vlogs don't get out that often. Vlogs are just kind of easy to do because it's just like, I'm doing something, let me make a video out of it, and then toss it in, chop it up, and then export and done. But stuff like Set Me Up and the Q&As, those get kind of pushed off because those are more of the side projects. They're not really what I started the channel on, even though they do relatively well in terms of views and stuff. But mostly I get what I promised out first because I set a deadline, and I want to stick with my own deadline is the thing. And then after that, I do videos that I personally invested into, which is why my Threadripper review and my GTX 1080 Ti review that I was probably due like 4 months ago isn't out yet. I also purchased a Note 8. Where is it? This thing is amazing. I'm going to review it. I have a script started. I just don't know when that video will come out, but it's already late, so that was all basically my future proofing. That Note 8 was supposed to be a Note 7. But then it started exploding, so instead of the Note 7, I just put the money aside, and I was like, I'll wait for the S8, or if they continue, I'll wait for the Note series, because I like the pen, and I knew at some point in time they were going to start implementing the dual cameras. I just wasn't sure if it would be on the S8, or if they would continue the Note 8, or if they did something instead of the Note, because that whole explosion debacle, that they would do something else instead. But I was waiting to see what they would release, and then I was going to go from there with the money I pocketed for the Note 7. So a lot of the stuff I bought was from budgeting many, many moons ago. I just do a lot of budgeting. That's where the money comes from, and that's where it goes. So to prevent this from just being me sitting in a chair talking the whole time, my plan that I'm too tired to do now is that TV and pretty much that entire wall. A lot of people ask me what I'm doing with the mirrors. All up there. They're all behind the TV too. They kind of like trigger my OCD. I don't really have OCD, but they kind of tilt me a little bit because they're not all aligned. The person who was who was in this home last, right? They put up these mirrors or he put up his mirrors for his wife, and they're not all following the same pattern. I don't know if you can notice that or not, but they're not all proper, and it kind of bothers me. I don't really look at it. I try not to pay attention to it, but that's how it is. I'm not taking the mirrors down. I'm actually going to be moving the TV up and wall mounting it. It's a big TV. I don't know if it's a good idea yet. I'm pretty sure it's not, but I'm going to try it anyway because I'm trying to make more table space. Now the desks are one full of crap. I have Twix there, and I just ate a couple of fortune cookies. Don't judge me. And then there's another table over there that is full of like tools and crap. I don't know if, okay, well, if I caught that on camera, I'm gonna have to blur it out. Anyway, there's a table over there that's covered in like tools and other miscellaneous junk. That table and this table are going, and I bought 3 IKEA tables, a 47-inch, another 47-inch, and then a 47-inch like kind of L desk sort of thing for the corner. Or a quarter desk? I guess that's what it's called, a corner desk. That would make sense. Yeah, I'm being one of those guys that's replacing everything with IKEA stuff. And then I'm mounting the TV up top. And on the tables, I'm going to be putting like guest computers, like the one that's over there is going to stay over there. I don't know if I'm going to switch out the case yet or not. But then I have my KB Lake system that I'm going to rebuild over there as like an RGB machine that will be kind of a test bed. See, the thing is, I don't get a lot of hardware stuff in, like graphics cards and processors, so I don't really need a test bed. But if there's anything to put a test bed on, it'd be a KB Lake system because it's still relevant. It's still a good gaming processor, so it's good for a lot of people, I guess. That's what that'll be. It's not going to be an actual test bed because I don't have to switch parts out a lot, so I can make it look good without having to kill myself every time I want to take it apart. And then there's going to be a 5820K build, which is that was my old editing rig, the 5820K, but I'm actually switching it for it's more or less going to be a gaming rig because I have friends come over, and I don't have any more gaming processors. I have a Ryzen 1400 chip that's probably going to go to my mother. Now, the computer that's going over there, well, the computer that is there already is, see, that was supposed to be temporary, actually. This is interesting. The Mean at 5 PM case is a case I really like. I just don't use it very often. And it's nice here in the sense that the black glass is tinted. And typically I don't like tinted glass, but when it's tinted like that, it reflects the little LEDs I have against the wall. So it kind of helps with some of the B-roll, so I think I'm going to keep it here. That's a Xeon processor that is really overkill for what I'm using it for. I need a computer there, because that's my B-roll table, so that means I need to use a computer for plugging in mice or keyboards or headsets, and if there's software, I need it to be functional so I can screen cap stuff, like record things with OBS or whatever. Yeah, it's a Xeon doing that. If I had something smaller than a Xeon, I would use it, but I'm out of processors, so yeah. Also, the Xeon seems to have some stability issues. I can't do any base clock overclocking on it because it doesn't stay stable for very long. It'll crash intermittently. Like, it's weird. It won't crash during a stress test. For like a 3-hour, 4-hour stress test, it'll be fine. But then occasionally my friend will use it for playing games or something, and then it'll just lock up for some reason. I don't know why. So anyway, I just turned off any sort of base clock overclocking. It's at stock settings. So that's going to stay there as the OBS computer, I guess, but not even for streaming, just recording software. That TV is moving up, probably about as close to the top of the ceiling as I can get it. That way I can fit a setup under it, and I'm really hoping that that TV doesn't fall, because the mount I have was some relatively cheap thing I found on Amazon. It was like 20 bucks, but it had like 5,000 something ratings at 4.6 stars, and apparently some people say a lot of people say it'll hold a 70-inch TV. I'll see how that goes. If I kill myself within the next few days, then it's because the TV fell down and crashed. I have the wall mounting stuff there, as well as the drill that I'm using. I've never actually used a drill before. It's going to be different, I guess. I never needed a drill before, so I never had a reason to use one, but yeah. I think that's all the things I have for planning, and I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to explain. Anyway, this was way out of order, but that's okay. I am no longer employed, which means not that many different things for you guys. When people ask me to review stuff, my answer is almost always the same. It's, I will ask the company. If I don't get a response or if they say no, then I can't really justify putting my own money toward it. Because if the video is not making me the money to cover the cost of the product, why would I get it? Unless I was using it for myself. If I'm using it for myself, then I will put the money towards it, I will review it, and then it will probably end up somewhere on my desk, or somewhere over, I don't know, in an area of something that I'm using. But yeah, that's pretty much been my answer the entire time I've been doing this. Whenever I get something, it's either provided by a company or it's something I'm going to be personally using. So that's not changing. It's been the same as it always has been. And Patreon stuff. My Patreon income, I guess, was never calculated into my 2-year, I guess, grace period of not working. That is staying the same. If it hits certain thresholds, I do tech videos under certain monetary values, and if it hits a higher threshold, which I don't expect anytime soon, I'm going to be doing budget builds. Somebody asked recently if they could pay me the cost of a product so I could review the product. Like, give me the money to review it so I could go buy it and review it, and I guess I'm not opposed to doing that. If you want to leave me a message on Patreon and say, buy this, do a video on it, that's fine. But I don't see the point. Why not just buy it yourself, try it out, and then return it if you hate it, you know? So I'm not opposed to it, but at the same time, it kind of doesn't make sense. So do whatever. Anyway, Patreon's staying the same. My review patterns are staying the same. I mean, I guess if anything changes, it'll be more frequent uploads. But I still wouldn't expect a video every other day because it still takes me a long time to write the script. Like this script, not that script. Yeah, that script for that video that you don't know yet because it's not out yet. Actually, it'll probably be out by the time this video goes out. But that took me like 16 hours to do, spread over 2 days. And it's not even long. It's like a page and a half. And that's because I'm not as clever as everybody thinks. I'm kind of an idiot. It just takes me a long time to do things. So I wouldn't expect super frequent uploads, but you can expect more of them more frequently. Camera just stopped recording, I'm not sure why. If you want to keep asking me to review items, that's okay, but as a general thing that I've been noticing, the majority of companies, like almost all of them, will either say no or not answer. Unless they come to me first asking if I want to take a look at something. Like, you can ask for stuff, but don't expect it to actually happen. It might, but it probably won't. 10 keyless keyboard reviews. People keep asking me for those. I finally got a couple in. I'm so excited for those. I forgot completely. The IKEA stuff I ordered, it's not going to come in until, at least for a couple more weeks. So that is going to be put on hold. But the TV I can mount tomorrow. I'm not doing it now because it's 7 in the morning now. Almost 7, 6:53. I don't want to use a drill this early in the morning when I'm this tired because I will probably hurt myself. I hurt myself when I'm completely awake, so I don't want to put power tools in my hands. But yeah, that's all for now. I'm gonna get to some comments, probably finish up some stuff, and then pass out, and then work on the TV thing. When it comes crashing down, you guys will be the first to know, probably on Twitter, which is a shameless self-plug. Actually, I guess while I'm at it, I have social media that you guys can choose to follow. I don't say it very much. It's in the description of my videos, but I don't know how often people open those up. So Twitter is where I post general thoughts occasionally. I don't post a lot, but I post every once in a while. And then it's also where I post when I've uploaded a new video and deals that I find. So like if I see something particularly nice on Amazon, I don't know, it's maybe marked down more than usual, I'll just tweet it out and be like, hey, this is interesting if anybody wants to look at it. Instagram is where I put pictures of things that I particularly like. And a lot of times the thumbnails go up on there, so if you want to see a larger version of the YouTube thumbnail without the text, that's usually where those go. And a lot of people ask me if I mess up the bloopers on purpose, just for the sake of having bloopers. No, I just can't talk right. I don't know, when I was saying particularly, it reminded me of that. Anyway, the last thing was Facebook. Facebook is probably the one I'm least active on, but that's where a lot of the behind the scenes stuff goes. Like if I'm recording something and the method of which I'm recording might be interesting, it'll probably go on Facebook. Sometimes I'll throw pictures of general RGB things on there, like if I take a picture with my phone and it's not like off of the GH4 camera I use, then it'll go on Facebook. Stuff like that. I mean, I'm fairly active on Facebook. I read messages if people shoot them at me, comments and stuff like that. The thing about Twitter is if you message me on Twitter, Twitter doesn't always notify me that I've gotten a message, so one guy, I didn't respond to him for like 4 weeks and I felt so bad. Same thing with YouTube. YouTube doesn't always tell me either. Instagram will tell me, but it'll show me if I'm on my phone. And sometimes the notification gets swiped away or overlooked or something, and I'll just miss it, and I won't know, and I don't check my inbox in Instagram. So it's not really Instagram's fault, it's usually mine because I get rid of all my notifications at once, and I don't look sometimes. Twitter sometimes doesn't tell me, and YouTube often doesn't tell me. Sometimes it'll send me an email, but if it doesn't send me the email, I have no idea. Yeah, if you want a question answered, and you want it answered relatively quickly, the best way to do it is either send me an email to ALittleDIMM@gmail.com or find me on Facebook. The page is ALittleDIMM. Yeah, Patreon. I'm not asking for more donations. I'm not asking for any donations. I don't care if you leave that page completely desolate and barren. I haven't updated it or touched it in a long time. I don't really intend on changing anything on it. At some point in time, if YouTube starts making me a lot of money, I'll put more into like rewards, I guess. Like if you donate, at some point in time I can start giving stuff away. The thing about giving stuff away though is shipping is expensive. The other thing about giving stuff away is a lot of the cases I have, I dump all the screws into the same spot. So a lot of the screws and a lot of the drive bays and a lot of the PCIe covers, they're all missing. So I feel bad giving away like a case with some components missing. It feels wrong. Also, cases are expensive to ship. I'd rather just buy you a new case. If Patreon gets to that point, I can start doing that. If my channel gets to that point, I can start doing that. But I'm not in a financial position to do it right now, obviously. So that's that. Also, I just hit 12K apparently. I wasn't even looking, but that's really cool. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Oh, last question. A company showed some interest in sending me what looked to be a pretty good monitor. I don't remember exact specs off the top of my head, but it was 144 hertz and it was like maybe 27 or 28 inches. FreeSync, which I unfortunately can't test, but it's got it. And they were rightfully so hesitant to send it over. So they were asking if I'd be fishing for your general interest. So I'm gonna leave a poll down in the comments section. If you want to see me try a monitor review, I can ask them and get their hands on it, but they want to see some sort of backing evidence that you guys would be interested. I'm gonna stop talking because I don't remember as much as I thought I did. I will put the link of the monitor in the description, and then you can check it out and you can tell me, or I would like you to tell me if you think it would be interesting for me to review. And then with that poll or that general information, I can let them know whether or not it would be beneficial for them to send it over, basically. Thanks in advance, and I will see you when I start doing that. So, ta-ta for now. And we are back. I overslept a little bit, but that's okay. First order of business is clear off the table. There's a lot of stuff on the table. I gotta clear all that off. I can't find a hot shoe for my camera. I don't know where I put it, which means I can't use one of my tripods. I could always swap the head out, but that's too much work. So I'm probably just gonna use a little tripod and set this thing up on a desk somewhere. I don't even know if it'd be interesting to watch me mount the TV or not anyway. Now, the other thing is, I didn't think about this morning because I was tired and I didn't want to put any sort of mental activity into anything. But this is not a light desk. This is a very heavy desk. This is also a fairly heavy TV, and everything on top of it is... there's just a lot of stuff and I don't know where to put it. This is what my desk looks like when I'm not recording stuff. It's kind of pretty bad. I'm not a neat person, obviously. I'm going to start planning out where I'm going to drill. I need to find the studs in the wall. If there are studs in the wall, I'm pretty sure there are. I'm going to start, I guess. Yeah. I feel sweaty and absolutely disgusting, but I did it. It's done. It's up on the wall, and I did it all by myself with a guy like me who needs friends. Oh, that was sad. Yeah, the cables down there are temporary. Don't freak out at me. Those are only there for now because I'm pretty sure I mentioned I was going to switch out the table. And if I switch out the table, it doesn't make sense for me to bundle all the wires and then like stick them up to the top of the or the bottom of the desk. So I figured I'd leave the cables hanging for now, hate myself for a couple of weeks, put the new tables in, and then fix it. I'm pretty sure I leveled it right, but it looks off by just a teeny tiny bit, like maybe half a degree or something. And I'm like half tempted to say that it's my fault, but I'm also half tempted to say that maybe the room isn't perfectly level. Maybe? I'm not too sure, but I don't think anybody will notice unless they were really looking for it. So I think that's going to conclude the vlog. I could finish cleaning, but I think right now all I want to do is stop moving and watch TV. I forgot to put the cover on. This is the cover for the... this is the cover for the stand that came with the TV. I can probably slip that in. Oh, I don't know if it's upside down or not. That's okay, I'll figure it out. Thanks for watching. My name is Steven, and I am, obviously, a little dim.